Just a few years ago, international scam compounds were most commonly associated with Cambodia, Myanmar, and Laos. But today, an obvious question is beginning to emerge. What happens when those criminal networks start moving somewhere else? They're leaving Cambodia, not because they've run out of money, but because Cambodia is no longer a safe place for them to operate. And now, they appear to be looking at Vietnam as their next opportunity. In less than 2 months, hundreds of Chinese nationals quietly rented hotels, installed high-speed internet, lined rooms with bunk beds, and began setting up large-scale online fraud operations. What we're witnessing could be the early signs of a new wave of transnational organized crime attempting to establish itself inside Vietnam. The question is Vietnam truly prepared for this threat? And if these operations are allowed to grow, how serious could the consequences become? A major shift in organized crime is happening across Southeast Asia, largely out of public view. As Cambodian authorities intensified their crackdown on Chinese-run cyber scam compounds, many of these criminal organizations didn't disappear, they simply relocated. Instead of shutting down, they searched for a new base of operations. Vietnam, with its open tourism policies, abundant hotels and vacation rentals, reliable internet infrastructure, and strategic location, quickly became an attractive option. According to Vietnamese investigators, after Cambodian authorities stepped up enforcement against Chinese-led scam centers, many criminal groups began moving portions of their operations into Vietnam. This wasn't a coincidence. It was a calculated strategic decision made by sophisticated transnational criminal organizations with substantial financial resources and logistical support. Within just 1 month, from mid-May to mid-June 2026, Vietnamese police dismantled 3 major operations across the country, stretching from Lao Cai in the north to Ho Chi Minh City in the south. Hundreds of suspects were detained. Thousands of electronic devices were seized. Each case appeared to be another piece of the same criminal network. In early June 2026, police in Lao Cai discovered a group of Chinese nationals who had entered Vietnam from Cambodia through the Moc Bai border crossing in Tây Ninh province, before traveling more than 1,500 kilometers north to Lao Cai. There, they rented a large number of rooms at the Song Hong View Hotel. Their travel pattern immediately stood out. Rather than gathering everyone in one location, they entered from southern Vietnam before quietly spreading operations toward the northern border, an apparent attempt to avoid drawing attention. The group consisted of 19 Chinese nationals, led by Wang Xiangsheng, also known as Vuong Trong Sin, born in 1981 in Fujian Province, China. Investigators say these weren't amateur scammers. They were experienced operators who had previously worked inside scam compounds in Cambodia. On June 10th, authorities observed the group installing laptop computers preloaded with Chinese messaging applications such as Telegram and 69Yue, along with multiple 5G signal transmission devices used to support online fraud. Their scheme involved impersonating employees of online lending platforms. Victims would be guided through fake loan application procedures before ultimately being defrauded of their money. Just 2 days later, on June 12th, as the operation was beginning to go live, Vietnamese police raided the hotel. All 19 suspects were arrested. Authorities seized 23 laptop computers, 26 mobile phones, 8 portable 5G communication devices, 16 USB drives containing operating systems, and numerous digital records connected to the operation. Perhaps the most shocking discovery came during the forensic examination of the seized devices. Investigators found that while operating in Cambodia, the group had already collected personal information on approximately 25,000 Chinese citizens for use in future fraud schemes.
25,000 potential victims. All of that data was sitting inside computers recovered from a single hotel in northern Vietnam. While the Lao Cai investigation was unfolding, another operation had already been quietly taking shape in Ho Chi Minh City.
On May 18th, Ho Chi Minh City police inspected a local hotel and discovered 85 Chinese nationals staying there, without properly registering their temporary residence. Authorities seized nearly 200 computers and laptops, more than 550 mobile phones, and numerous electronic devices.
Think about that for a moment. 550 phones inside one hotel. That's not tourism.
That's an industrial-scale scam call center. Investigators identified several organizers, including Dai Fei, also known as Lei Long, Hu Guoyu, and Zhou Wendong. According to police, the group rented the property, installed network infrastructure, assembled personnel, and prepared equipment to establish an online scam center targeting Chinese citizens.
Authorities also recovered numerous fraud scripts covering e-commerce scams, fake investment platforms, stock market fraud, and other online deception schemes. These scripts weren't random notes. They were carefully written conversations designed to manipulate victims psychologically. One script instructed callers to pose as investment advisors. Another impersonated trusted e-commerce companies. Others pretended to be bank representatives. Every conversation had been engineered to gain trust before stealing money. Investigators determined that Dai Fei, Hu Guoyu, and Zhou Wendong had been directed by organizers outside Vietnam to scout locations, rent facilities, install internet infrastructure, and coordinate the arrival of additional personnel from China.
This suggests that those arrested inside Vietnam were likely only the advance team. The individuals truly controlling the network remained safely outside the country. Less than 1 month later, authorities uncovered yet another operation, also in Ho Chi Minh City, but this one appeared even more organized.
On June 17th, police discovered 42 Chinese nationals staying illegally inside a residence equipped with hundreds of electronic devices. Authorities seized 132 mobile phones, 77 tablets, 7 laptop computers, numerous networking and telecommunications devices, and extensive digital evidence related to online fraud.
What caught investigators' attention wasn't just the equipment. It was how the house had been organized. According to investigators, the property functioned as a closed compound. Personnel lived together under strict supervision. Their movements were tightly controlled. Daily activities were directed remotely by organizers located outside Vietnam. This wasn't simply an online scam center. It also showed signs commonly associated with forced labor.
Some of the people inside may themselves have been victims, lured to Vietnam with false job promises, or pressured into participating in criminal activities they could no longer escape. Earlier in 2026, 2 Chinese nationals, Phan Hai Ming and Cao Jialiang, had entered Vietnam from Cambodia to directly oversee the operation.
Phan Hai Ming managed personnel and enforced internal discipline. Cao Jialiang handled logistics and controlled access to the compound. One supervised the workers. The other managed operations.
The organizational structure looked less like a gang and more like a corporation, with specialized departments and clearly assigned responsibilities. Perhaps most concerning, investigators also arrested a Vietnamese citizen, Nguyen Hong Thao Nhi, who allegedly helped arrange housing and logistics for the organization.
On June 20th, Vietnam's Security Investigation Agency formally charged Phan Hai Ming, Cao Jialiang, and Nguyen Hong Thao Nhi with organizing the illegal stay of foreign nationals in Vietnam. The involvement of local facilitators represents one of the most dangerous aspects of these operations.
Without domestic logistical support, it would be far more difficult for foreign criminal organizations to establish themselves. It's important to be clear. At this time, there is no evidence that Vietnam has become Southeast Asia's next scam capital.
However, these recent investigations suggest that transnational criminal organizations are beginning to view Vietnam as a country with operational potential. If these activities are not stopped early, several risks could emerge.
First, large-scale scam centers could begin operating out of hotels, serviced apartments, vacation rentals, and short-term office spaces. Second, Vietnam's telecommunications and internet infrastructure could increasingly be used to launch fraud campaigns targeting victims around the world. Third, these operations could attract related criminal activities, including money laundering, document forgery, illegal immigration, and broader organized crime networks. Once one link in the chain is established, others often follow.
That's a pattern already seen in several countries across Southeast Asia. Many people ask, why would these groups rent entire hotels instead of private houses? The answer is simple. Hotels offer privacy, convenience, and capacity. They can accommodate dozens or even hundreds of people. Constant movement in and out attracts far less attention. Electricity, internet service, and living facilities are already in place.
And if hotel operators fail to conduct proper oversight or knowingly cooperate, illegal operations can continue for extended periods without detection. That's one reason Vietnamese authorities have increased inspections of hotels and other accommodation providers across the country. Despite the seriousness of these cases, there is one encouraging fact. Authorities intercepted these groups before their operations became fully operational. That demonstrates a significant improvement in Vietnam's intelligence gathering, surveillance capabilities, and interagency coordination. Had these compounds gone live, the financial damage and international impact could have been far greater. Stopping them before they became operational not only prevented potential losses, but also sent a clear message. Vietnam is not an easy place for transnational criminal organizations to establish themselves. The criminals have already adapted. The question now is, can public awareness and law enforcement continue to stay one step ahead? Thank you for following this story. If you found it interesting, please subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and share it. For now, this is goodbye. Thank you for staying with Societale Stories.